Good morning. Welcome to Extraordinary. I am up early, like I am most mornings, but I was watching a talk that my coach gave that's incredibly interesting, and I took a pause because I needed a second cup of tea. And as I was waiting for the kettle to boil, I thought to myself, okay, so you've been up, I don't know, an hour and a little bit more, hour and a half probably. And this is the first minute of the time that you've been up where you've just done nothing, where you've just sat and let the kettle boil. You haven't been checking social media, you haven't been reading a book, you haven't been watching a video, you haven't been doing anything, you've just been letting your mind rest. And so I think that if I'm feeling that way, you might be feeling that way too. So my encouragement to you this morning, or whenever you see this, is to just be okay doing nothing once in a while. It's okay to do nothing. I promise you, it's okay to do nothing. But that is hard advice to take, because when you are trying to launch something new, like I am, and you're having opportunities show up that are in your lane but feel a little bit out of the true lane, so it's like maybe a passing lane on your highway. I don't need to go into a road analogy, but whatever. Then you want to do it right. You want to not mess it up. So I have a new opportunity to start doing some individual coaching, which is incredibly exciting to me. But now I'm thinking about all the content that I've created that's working so beautifully in these personal systems disruption groups that I've been running, both as retreats and courses. I'm not sure that it works for individuals. So I'm trying to figure out, well, what can I keep but adapt, and what do I need to bring in? So you can imagine that now what I'm doing is, I went to the library yesterday and I got 3 new books. And I've watched 2 talks this morning, and I started a newsletter yesterday. And I'm like, because I want to do it right. And when you do that, when I do that, what happens is I overwhelm myself with all of the what ifs. What if I'm not good at it this way? What if it doesn't work? What if it's too expensive and the person who's going to do this work with me feels dissatisfied? What if, what if, what if? What if? What if? Okay, what if it doesn't work? What if I do this work with her and it doesn't work? And she says to me, boy, that was disappointing. All right, I can pay her back if I have to. I think what will happen is that I will work on it and it will unfold as I go. Because here's what's true. I don't really think anybody knows at all what they're doing at almost any point in time. If we're doing something new, if we're putting ourselves out there, if we're reaching into the thing that excites us, how can we possibly know what we're doing? You didn't know what you were doing when you got married. You didn't know what you were doing when you had a baby. You didn't know what you were doing when you started your first job. You just show up and take the first step, which incidentally is exactly the work that I teach. So I'm trying to remind myself one more time, for the millionth time, that I don't have to know exactly what I'm doing. I have to have the first moment planned so that I can be there, be present, give value, listen, and respond. And all the books and all the talks and all the podcasts and all of the stuff is important. But I know generally what I'm trying to do. And I think you probably do too. So my encouragement to you today, my encouragement to myself, to us today, is to take a breath. Trust that you know what you're doing. and be okay with doing nothing for 5 minutes. Can you do nothing for 5 minutes but just let your mind wander? Or can you go sit in the sunshine when the sun comes up for 5 minutes? Can you sit in a chair and just be? You definitely have 5 minutes to give to nothing. So I'm going to shut this video off in a minute, and I'm just going to drink my tea. I'm not going to put my Coach's Talk back on till I have drunk this mug of tea, which is hot, so it'll probably take 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, I'm just going to let my mind wander. And I'm not going to plan, and I'm not going to worry, and I'm not going to ask what if, and I'm not going to envision worst case scenario. I'm just going to be. And whatever I be is fine. I do understand the grammatical incorrectness of that, but you know what I mean. Wherever I go, wherever my brain goes, is just fine. So make yourself a cup of something hot if you drink that. Find a good spot to sit and just be. And I mentioned a little bit earlier that I started a new newsletter this week. Not a Daily Dose newsletter, just a newsletter for my stuff. So it's some of my content, and then a lot more of it is content that I am discovering that I think is valuable, that I think you might too. So it went out this morning at 6, but I would be so thrilled to add you to the list if you want to get. I'm hoping it'll be weekly. It'll never be more than weekly. But we'll see. I'm not holding myself to a schedule because I do not need one more stress in my life that's not serving me or serving you. So if you want to try it out, let me know and I'll add you to the list, and I'll make sure you get today's newsletter. It's the very first one. And if you don't want one more thing in your inbox because it's already filled with things you're not looking at, then relieve yourself of any guilt over not getting it. Make your mug of something warm. Sit back. Just do nothing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, for just the littlest bit of time. You deserve to do nothing, and I promise you it will be okay. Have a fabulous Sunday. Remember, you're extraordinary.